Hi guys, I am AK. Avengers Infinity War is just 3 days away now. So how about a MCU recap that will explain you everything you need to know before watching Infinity War. In this video, I will cover all the 18 Marvel movies in case some of you have missed a few of them. The amazing Marvel Cinematic Universe started its journey in 2008 with the movie Iron Man. But in order to explain all of this to you, I need to start with another movie, Thor. Before beginning with the movie and the storyline, let's just understand that what these movies are revolving around. Currently, MCU is based upon Infinity Stones. There are 6 of them and all of them hold different powers. If brought together, they are the strongest objects of the universe. Number 1. TESSERACT, aka Space Stone. It can teleport anyone and anything from one point in the universe to another in a blink of a second. Number 2. AETHER, aka Reality Stone. It can change and alter the reality of any world, converting it into dark matter. Number 3. Orb, aka the Power Stone. As the name suggests, the Power Stone provides incredible strength to the one who wields it, and it can destroy an entire planet at once. Number 4. The Mind Stone. Its power is to control and to manipulate the mind of any being. Number 5. The Time Stone. As the name says, it controls the time of the universe or of anything or any being. One can go back in the past or in the future and can alter both of them as per one's wish. Number 6. The Soul Stone. We have not yet seen the Soul Stone in any of the 18 Marvel movies. But from the comics we know that it has the ability to control the soul of any being. Now let's head to the movies and their storyline. So many years ago, an alien race, Frost Giants, tried to conquer Norway, but was stopped by King of Asgard, Odin, father of Thor. From then the people started to worship Asgardians. By this time Thor was not born. We'll get back to it in a minute. Captain America, the First Avenger. Its storyline is based in 1940s. Red Skull, member of the Nazi army, found a tool from Odin's treasure room that was hidden on Earth. The Tesseract, aka the Space Stone. He forcefully took it and used it to make weapons for his new army, Hydra. Steve Rogers, a boy who wants to serve his nation, but is weak and short, so fails all the examinations. He is then selected by a doctor, and as a result of an experiment, he becomes strong, very strong. By the help of Super Soldier Serum, he helps his army to fight Red Skull and Hydra. He also uses a shield made out of all the vibranium present in the world, which Howard Stark specially designed for him. Howard Stark is none other than the father of Tony Stark, and along with him is his childhood friend Bucky Barnes, whom he loses during a fight. Captain America faces Red Skull, and Red Skull makes a mistake by holding the Tesseract directly, because of which then Cap has no option to land the aircraft anywhere but the ocean, and he also lost a chance to dance with his love interest Peggy Carter. But by the end of the movie, he wakes up and discovers that he was frozen for years. But S.H.I.E.L.D. found Cap and along with him the Tesseract. He is confronted by Nick Fury, the director of a very special organization known as S.H.I.E.L.D. More on that in a minute. Iron Man, which came out in 2008. Tony Stark, who is
genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
After his father passed away, Howard's lifetime ally Obadiah Stane takes his place. Tony is kidnapped instead of being killed, because the terrorist organizations were not aware that they have been paid to kill Tony Stark. So instead they kidnapped him and demanded more ransom. Stark makes an arc reactor to keep the shrapnel that wounded him from reaching his heart and killing him, which also powers the Iron Man armor. But he escapes after building a suit made of iron. Hence Iron Man origins. It turns out that Tony was targeted by none other than Obadiah Stane because he wanted total control over the company, and Tony was becoming a barrier because he was selling the arms to the terrorist organizations. But Iron Man defeats Stane, and in the end of the movie, Nick Fury, yes, the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., appears for the first time in the MCU. And at the same moment he drops a hint about Avengers Initiative. Now let me tell you a thing about S.H.I.E.L.D. It was founded by none other than Howard Stark, father of Tony Stark, and Peggy Carter. Not only Nick Fury but also Agent Coulson is introduced from the S.H.I.E.L.D. Now comes Iron Man 2, that has a very forgettable villain. But the important part is that another Avenger is introduced in the movie, Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow. She was secretly working with Tony under the orders of Nick Fury and is also a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. Tony is actually dying because of the arc reactor as it is poisoning him. So believing that there is nothing that he can do, he tries to enjoy at his best. His friend Rhodey comes up because the US government wants the Iron Man to be on the watch. So Rhodey steals another armor of Tony Stark, fights him and takes away the armor, making him the War Machine, another Avenger. Nick Fury then pushes Tony to create a better arc reactor, and he does it by creating a new element. The US government then assigns Justin Hammer to create iron armors to protect the country. He takes the help of Tony's arch nemesis Ivan. He is the one who tried to kill Tony in the beginning of the movie because his father was sent to prison because of Tony Stark's father. Then Iron Man and War Machine fight together and defeat him. Next is the Incredible Hulk. Bruce Banner, a scientist exposed to gamma radiation, turning him into a big green monster known as the Hulk. Bruce is now tracked by Thunderbolt Ross, the general. He becomes obsessed with catching Bruce Banner also because he loves his daughter, Betty Rose. And in order to catch him, because of his mistakes, another green monster named Abomination is created, and Hulk stops him to save the day. Mark Ruffalo later replaced the actor Edward Norton as Bruce Banner. Remember Odin and those frost giants? Odin now has two sons, Thor and Loki. Frost giants invade to take their power source from Odin's vault, but they were stopped by the Destroyer. But Thor along with Loki and his friends secretly go to confront the frost giants. Odin then saves them all by bringing them back to Asgard, and he banishes Thor for being proudy and silly, and that is how his hammer, Mjolnir, and he himself end up being on Earth, where he meets scientist Eric and also discovers his love interest for Jane Foster. It is revealed that Loki was after all son of Laufey, the king of frost giants, and Odin brought him along with him after the war in hope that one day those two kingdoms can be united because of Loki. After hearing this, Loki is heartbroken and he feels this is the reason that he was not treated as good as Thor was. Odin then goes to Odin's sleep, which can be like forever. Loki then takes the charge of the Asgard and lies to Thor about his father's death. But Thor's friends secretly come to Earth to tell him about what is happening. Loki sends the Destroyer to kill Thor and the rest of his friends. He also visits the Frost Giants to make a deal that they can come to Asgard and kill Odin, so that he can be the king. But it is actually a trap to impress his mother and his father Odin. Thor changes so much that the curse is lifted and he again becomes a powerful Asgardian. After defeating Destroyer, he goes back to Asgard where Loki has killed the king of the Frost Giants and is destroying their kingdom using the Bifrost. Thor stops him and destroys the Bifrost. Odin then wakes up and Loki realizes whatever he did was not accepted by Odin. Well, he didn't die, but just left Asgard. The movie Thor also introduced us to another Avenger, Hawkeye. It was for a very brief moment. Now we are all set for Avengers 1. In the end credit scene, we see that the Tesseract is in possession of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the scientist Eric is mind controlled by Loki. Loki is given the Mind Stone by none other than Thanos, who wants the Tesseract, aka the Space Stone that is in possession of S.H.I.E.L.D. So now you know that Thanos is trying to collect all the Infinity Stones from quite long. Loki tries to rule Earth, kills Coulson, which gets all the heroes together, and they defeat Loki and the Chitauri army sent by Thanos. Thor then takes Loki back using the Tesseract, and the Space Stone is kept safe in Odin's treasure room again. There is a string of bombings going on by the terrorist organization the Ten Rings and their leader Mandarin. Happy, Tony's security chief, is also injured during an incident. So Tony went on to issue a threat to Mandarin on television, because of which his home is destroyed. Tony barely escapes, but with no power, no resources, he is unable to return, and the world thinks him to be dead. He then investigates the bombings by Mandarin. It is revealed that bombings were triggered by the soldiers subjected to extremists. Turns out that these bombings were never done by Ten Rings. It was the people who were exploding because their body was not able to accept extremists. And Aldrich Killian is the real Mandarin behind it. Stark along with Rhodey save the President and Pepper Potts from Killian. And in the end, he undergoes a surgery to get the shrapnel removed. And now he no longer needs arc reactor. Thor, the Dark World. Years ago, Bor, father of Odin, clashed with the Dark Elf Malekith, who wanted to unleash a weapon known as AETHER on all of the 9 realms. Jane Foster, the love interest of Thor, got to know about some portals appearing in an abandoned factory. Turns out it is the Convergence, a rare alignment of the 9 realms that links all the worlds. Unfortunately, Jane is teleported to another world where she is infected by AETHER, which leads Thor to Earth. And Thor realizes that something is wrong with Jane, so he brings her to Asgard. Malekith, awakened by the AETHER, attacks Asgard. Unfortunately, Thor's mother Frigga is killed protecting Jane. Thor then, with the help of Loki, through a portal goes to the world of Dark Elves. Their plan fails, but AETHER is finally out of Jane. During the battle, Loki dies, but he is faking. Then Thor, with the help of Eric and Jane, stop Malekith. But we find out that Loki is actually alive and impersonating Odin. And in the mid-credit scene, we find out that Lady Sif and Volstagg visit the Collector to hand him the AETHER, aka the Reality Stone. Captain America Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier, an assassin guided by Hydra, is ordered to assassinate Nick Fury. Fury then fakes his death to get to know what is going on inside the shield. Turns out that shield was infiltrated by Hydra since the moment it was formed. And now by assassinating Nick Fury, they were taking charge over shield. Cap then, along with Black Widow, gets on the run. During a fight, turns out that Bucky Barnes in fact is the Winter Soldier. Remember, I talked about Bucky Barnes, who was thought to be dead during a fight in the movie Captain America. Cap also makes a new friend, Sam Wilson, who turns out to be Falcon. With the help of his friends, he finds out that Hydra wants to eliminate all the threats by using the Helicarriers in the space. So he stops Hydra and Winter Soldier, and S.H.I.E.L.D. is turned to the ashes. Cap then goes on to the journey to find his friend Bucky, who is now set free because most of the Hydra's heads are cut down. Then we are introduced to another superhero team of the space known as Guardians of the Galaxy. Peter Quill, born on Earth, but since he was very small, he is with Yondu. Peter, also known as Star-Lord, steals the orb so that he can sell it for a good price. He faces Ronan's men but tricks them and gets away with it. Ronan then sends Gamora, adopted daughter of Thanos, to retrieve the orb. Star-Lord and Gamora get into a fight which attracts 2 bounty hunters, Groot and Rocket. While they all 4 get in a conflict, they are stopped by Nova Corps and are put into prison. Drax, already in prison, and tries to kill her because he is aware of Ronan's involvement with her, and he wants to kill Ronan because he killed his family. Peter then convinces Drax that Gamora can actually bring Ronan to him, whereas Gamora reveals that she actually wanted to betray Ronan. Then all 5 of them collectively escape the prison and tried to sell Orb to the Collector. He tells them that Orb actually holds an Infinity Stone known as the Power Stone. Things then go wrong. Ronan gets hold of the Power Stone and refuses to turn it to Thanos, who actually asked Ronan in the first place to get the orb, and he promised that in return he will destroy Xandar for him. But Ronan then decides to use the Power Stone himself to destroy Xandar. But Guardians of the Galaxy along with the Nova Corps stop him, and Ronan dies. Also, Groot, while trying to save his friends, dies. But in the end, we get to see baby Groot, an offspring of our Groot. Guardians then hand over the orb along with the Power Stone to the Nova Corps to keep it safe. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Star-Lord meets his dad, Ego the Living Planet, while Yondu is still trying to get him, whom he fooled again and again in the first movie. Turns out that his father is actually evil, and he was the one who killed his mother. Guardians along with Yondu and Nebula and Mantis, a new member, fight him and defeat him successfully, while Yondu sacrifices his life for Peter and the Guardians to escape. Next comes Avengers Age of Ultron. Avengers find Loki's scepter along with the Mind Stone in Hydra's possession. They defeat them, but in the process also face 2 enhanced, Wanda Maximoff and Peter Maximoff. Turns out that Hydra enhanced them using the Mind Stone. They actually hate Avengers because of them. They lost their family. Iron Man then tries to build something that would keep them all safe, an AI Ultron, but it doesn't go as planned. Ultron turned out to be an evil robot. He then involves the 2 enhanced, Wanda and Peter, better known as Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, but soon they learn about his evil intentions and join Avengers to stop him. Ultron then tried to make a new body for himself by using the strongest metal on Earth, vibranium. While we thought that Captain America's shield was the one that had all the vibranium, more on that a little later. So Avengers steal the body that Ultron was trying to create, and with the help of Thor, they bring Vision to life with Mind Stone on his forehead. Then they all fight together and stop Ultron. But Quicksilver, while saving Hawkeye, took a bullet and died being an Avenger. In the end, Hulk gets on the aircraft and disappears. Next comes the Ant-Man. We found out that a scientist as good as Howard Stark, known as Hank Pym, resigns from S.H.I.E.L.D. after discovering their attempt to replicate his shrinking technology. He decides to hide the technology as long as he lives because it is dangerous and nobody can be trusted with it. But years later, his own daughter and his assistant Darren Cross forced him out of his company. Cross successfully made another shrinking suit known as the Yellow Jacket and intended to sell it to Hydra. Scott Lang, a thief, while trying to rob Hank Pym's house, took away the suit. After trying the suit on, Lang accidentally shrinks himself to the size of an ant. After being terrified, he tries to return the suit. It turns out that Hank Pym actually planned it all. And therefore, Scott Lang becomes the new Ant-Man. So with the help of Scott and his daughter Hope, they stop Cross. Scott also faces Falcon in a short scene. And because of that, Falcon is now aware of the Ant-Man. Things go south for the Avengers when Wanda, while protecting Cap, blows out a building full of civilians. Iron Man then brings General Ross to the Avengers base. Remember this guy? We saw him in the movie The Incredible Hulk, and he was after Bruce Banner. He tells the Avengers that UN is planning to bring Avengers under check by making them sign Sokovia Accords. Well, Iron Man feels it right and Cap doesn't. And that splits the team. On the other side, Bucky is framed for a bombing during a UN conference, which killed the king of Wakanda, T'Chaka. Then Cap and Falcon tried to find out Bucky, and so did T'Challa, son of King T'Chaka, in his Black Panther suit. Then they are all caught up. Then the guy who frames Bucky, Baron Zemo, infiltrates UN and triggers Winter Soldier. Bucky goes crazy, and after some time he is stopped by Falcon and Cap. Bucky then tells them that Zemo is headed to the same base where more of such soldiers were created, maybe to trigger them as well. Iron Man brings a new recruit, the Spider-Man. So Iron Man, along with War Machine, Black Widow, Black Panther, Spider-Man and Vision, tries to stop Team Cap, which consists of Captain America, Bucky, Falcon, Ant-Man, Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch. After a fight, Cap and Bucky are able to escape to stop Zemo, whereas the rest of the Team Cap is put behind bars. Iron Man then finds out that Bucky was actually framed, and with the help of Sam aka Falcon, he goes to help Cap. But it turns out that Zemo never actually wanted to activate those soldiers, but instead had a video clip to show to Tony Stark about his parents' death, and it is revealed that they were assassinated by none other than Bucky Barnes. But that time, he did not actually know what he was doing. After all, he was controlled by the Russians. But Iron Man gets furious and tries to kill Bucky. Cap intervenes and a fight is triggered between them. Bucky loses his arm, Cap gives his shield away, and Avengers split. And in the end, Cap helps his teammates to get out of the prison, whereas T'Challa helps Bucky by freezing him until they find a solution, as Wakanda's tech is way more advanced than any of the nations. Then we get another superhero solo movie, Doctor Strange. He's actually a doctor but spoils his hand during an accident. While searching for the cure, he meets the Ancient One, who is the protector of Earth and an expert in mystic arts. She tries to teach him everything about mystic arts, and then another Infinity Stone pops up, which is the Time Stone, which Doctor Strange uses in this movie in the end to trap Dormammu in an unending loop and forces him to go away from Earth. The Ancient One dies, but they also know that now they should be prepared, and now the Earth needs a new master of the mystic arts. Also in the credit scene, we see Thor sitting with Doctor Strange, as Thor is looking for Odin, who went missing. Then we get a Spider-Man solo film, where a guy named Vulture, using the technology of the Chitauri army, is building some dangerous weapons and selling them illegally. Well, turns out he is the father of the girl that Peter has crush upon. Moreover, Peter is trying to balance his life between being Spider-Man and a good student. In the end of the movie, he saves Vulture from dying. He is then offered by Tony Stark to actually be an Avenger, and he also offers him a new suit. But Peter refuses, thinking of it as a test, which it wasn't. Then in the Black Panther, we find out how advanced Wakanda actually is. The main source of all their power is vibranium, and they have been hiding out from the outer world. Black Panther then goes through civil war in his own nation. because his cousin Eric Killmonger claims the throne and Black Panther accepts the challenge. Killmonger almost defeats Black Panther, but he is thrown out of the mountain and then comes back to fight Killmonger. The border tribe supports Killmonger, whereas Dora Milaje, bodyguards of Black Panther, support T'Challa. We get a great fight scene and T'Challa defeats Killmonger. Also in the credit scene, we see Bucky is now cured and is getting better. Thor Ragnarok starts with Thor finding the answer of what Ragnarok exactly is. With the help of Doctor Strange, Thor finds Odin, and he was actually tricked by Loki, whereas Loki was enjoying being the king impersonating Odin. Odin then passes away peacefully in Norway, and it opens the gate for Hela to come back, and she is their elder sister. Thor tries to fight her, but she breaks the hammer with her bare hands. Then Thor and Loki try to return to Asgard using Bifrost, but Hela interrupts and throws both of them away from the Bifrost, and Thor ended up being on Sakaar. And it turns out that Loki is also there. Thor then meets Hulk at Sakaar. Thor also meets Valkyrie, so they all team up together, forming Revengers, and return to Asgard to fight Hela. Thor discovers true nature of his power in this movie, but Hela is still way too strong, so they let the Ragnarok come to Asgard in the form of Surtur. The Surtur then destroys Asgard and Hela along with it. Thor loses an eye, and then they all get upon a spaceship heading towards Earth. Loki steals the Tesseract and he has it now along with him. Then in the credit scene, on their way to Earth, they are stopped by a bigger ship, which belongs to none other than Thanos. Hope you guys now know what is happening in the MCU with the help of this MCU recap. That I think has given you everything you need to know before watching Infinity War, even if you have not seen any movie of Marvel Cinematic Universe. I believe this recap must have refreshed all your memories. Sorry guys if I missed anything, because there was so much to cover from all these 18 movies. It really took me a lot of time to create this. So I really appreciate you guys for watching this, and it would be awesome if you give this video a like and subscribe to my channel, because I'll keep on bringing more and more content for you guys. Thanks for watching, see you soon.